Welcome to WO50 Podcast. Women over 50 embody wisdom and wellness.
Hi there. My name is Corrine, and I'm here with my BFF of many years, Eddi. And this is our very first episode, and we're so glad you're listening. What did we talk about today, Ed?
We talked about how we met awkwardly, and we talked about life and aging and my granddaughter and her, knowing of quality cotton sheets and all kinds of things.
That the apple doesn't fall too far. She can tell she's your granddaughter. So yeah, we talked about our expectations or our desire for the podcast and who we are in this world. And we hope you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoy connecting and recording it. Well, this is exciting.
This is exciting.
Oh my gosh, I get to talk to my BFF every week to record this podcast because you live way up in Newfoundland.
Yes, and you live way in Nashville.
I do. So we're going to introduce each other since this is our first episode. And so I'm going to introduce Eddi, my BFF of how long? 35 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 35 years.
We met in our 20s. In Nashville. We were both singers that had moved to Nashville. We were both, well, you weren't an illegal alien. I was the illegal alien.
No, you think we want to talk about that first off on the first episode? I mean, we might not even get a second episode. You get grandfathered claused in now.
No, I'm dual citizen now, but back then I used to be terrified the first year I was here. Every time I heard a siren that they were going to come and take me away because I was here illegally.
Oh no, to the funny farm. Oh boy.
All right. So
here we are.
Here we are many years later, and I was not thrown out of the US of A. I became a citizen, and Eddi was here and she moved back to Newfoundland. And on our journey, like we both moved here, as you'll find out as you listen to the podcast, we both moved here as singers. But we also, well, actually, Eddi had different interests than I did. I really only knew singing when I first moved here. And I slowly got into yoga. No, I started meditating first. I had a really bad stomach ulcer. And I'm supposed to introduce you and you're supposed to introduce me.
Yeah, I know. But it's interesting because you started yoga, but I was doing yoga before you. And then you became my yoga teacher and I did yoga teacher training with you. And then I became a naturopath. And here we are introducing ourselves to each other.
Okay, so we're excited. We're excited. We're excited.
It's our first
I'm excited.
Episode. This is so cool. And we get to see each other every week. Now this way, we love technology.
And my BFF, so my BFF, Dr. Eddi Kenny, is a naturopath, and she's got 2 PhDs, one in naturopathic medicine, tell me if I get this wrong, and one in holistic nutrition, which is actually the study of how the science of how food and nutrition works in the body. Is that close?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and I got into all that after I finished. I started out as a nurse, actually, and became an oncology nurse and started down the path of integrative medicine when I moved to Nashville to sing and take a break from oncology, and then ended up, working in Nashville in alternative medicine. And that's what led me to my studies, which is kind of cool. And then I met you.
But you met me before that. We met each other when we were singers, and you were already a nurse, but I was a wannabe, singer-songwriter in Nashville as you were. Yes. And I had a oh no, you introduced me now.
Oh, and then you, this is really fun. We haven't even scripted this. This is called winging it.
What would you tell? Well, how would you introduce me at a retreat?
Well, I would say this is my best friend, my BFF of 35 years. She's an amazing human being. She sings like an angel. And I'm not the only one who has said that about you. Deepak Chopra has said that about you. If we want to drop some names here. And you are an amazing teacher of yoga, meditation, of life coaching. Your own journey in life has, rounded you brilliantly. And the people that enter into your life and who you touch with your wonderful wisdom and guidance, well, they'll feel just blessed, to be in your presence. So, you're an amazing human being and you have a lot of information. I remember I would always go, "Oh, I need to get this and this and this." And I would call up Corinne and go, "Corinne, where would you get this? And you get this at this place." Like I used to call her Miss Resource. Do
Yes,
you
you
remember
did.
that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Miss Resource. And then I'm on the other end of it all, troubleshooting different things. And she had the details and everything organized. And yeah, so when I introduce you, there's so many ways to introduce you. So, because we're not just that label, right? You're not just that one, you're not just a
Yeah.
yoga teacher. You're not, oh my God, you and I have done so much together in our lives that I can't believe we're going to share lots of it through this podcast, through this beautiful forum. And there's so many things we do together, working together, doing retreats together, singing together. Um, it's amazing.
Laughing to belly laughing,
Laughing.
crying together.
Yeah, and we got the WO50 podcast now, and you just turned 60, and I'll be 60 in October, and we're calling it Sexty. So we just keep adding to our toolbox. So
Yeah.
when I keep introducing you, every 5 years there's going to be more things to add. Every 10 years more. We're like, I can hardly believe we skipped over all that stuff at the intro. How we met, and we met musically.
We did meet musically. I was a
Mhm.
I was a struggling singer. Like I said, I was the illegal alien. I knew I wanted to live in Nashville. So after I was singing in Australia at World Expo, I saved a bunch of money and then came down to Nashville, like so many young people have done, back before us while we were here and since then.
And
And
it's really funny because I was singing at the Bluebird, and this is our story that's truth. And Dina Carter, who's a country singer and had some hit songs for those of you out there that don't know her, and she was roommates with Corinne at that time. And she goes, "You have to meet my roommate. You guys, you look alike. You're going to get along." And we did from the moment we met.
I still can remember. Can you remember meeting you outside where I lived on Blair Avenue, just down the
I
street from
do.
Brown's Diner? And
I
I
do.
came outside. Dina said, "You have to come outside to meet Eddie." And I came outside and it was like instant.
Yep. Yep. It was like twins, twin
Yeah.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And we've been friends ever since. And our journeys have, like, even though we've been best friends for 35 years, with you getting married and having a child and getting two PhDs, that was kind of all consuming for you. And then in the meantime, I was going to California studying with Deepak and doing all my certifications and going to India. And then we kind of but we always kept in touch, always, and would go visit each other and stuff. And then it was probably maybe, I don't know, 13 or 14 years ago where we really started to make sure that we would spend time, like a couple weeks together every year. And last year was 2 months together we got to
I
spend, which
know. It
was
was
so
great.
special. Yeah.
And you came up here to Newfoundland. So, yeah, we made an effort. And that's really important with friendships, especially women friendships. We have to keep in touch. We have to make an effort because life passes by so fast and our lives get busy and we can be doing lots of different things. But oh my goodness, when we touch base, I don't know. I think longtime friends are reality checks. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Humbling too. They're, I think, in both of us with our growth, anytime we think we've really excelled in the growth, we might make a statement and go, "Oh, I haven't grown. Oh, I got to redo that one."
Well, yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's constant, right? It's constant. And I do love that about, like, I kind of love that about all my friendships, but there's something about you and I. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day and was talking about the retreat that we just did. And I said, "Oh yeah, we had a debrief afterwards and we talked about what worked and what didn't." And she goes, "You did?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course. Of course we're going to talk about what worked and what didn't and what, and so I would hope that I'm, open and welcoming to when I misstep or when I can use a little adjustment in my attitude or speaking, and I think that's what good friendship is all about, is to be able to love and support each other, but also to reflect back. Maybe you should look at that a little differently.
Exactly, exactly. And it's also intention. When you have a dear friendship and our love is so big for each other, it's never to hurt or to sting or to get one up on you. That's never the intention. It's always, how can we do that better? That didn't feel great. Why didn't that feel great when that was said or when you did that? And then we talk about it, and we might have an instant reaction of, oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, then now, but then we talk about it and that falls away. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like there's less processing and less story, and
And
it's
less
it's
getting
just
stuck.
better.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because it's growth, right? We're trying to grow and be better people and enjoy our friendship. You know,
Yeah.
we could still be our who we are, our different selves, but we love being together and having fun. And if we're going to do things together, that's involving helping people or teaching or passing on what we know, we have to,
So there's
sit back
always room.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always room for improvement. Even if you're doing a retreat on your own, you're going to ask your people what worked and what they liked the best and what they didn't. That's
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
that's how we learn. There was a Michael Singer quote that I heard the other day that I really liked. That's like, it's never the problem. It's your idea and your thoughts about the problem.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's never
Yeah.
the situation itself, it's our ideas about the situation. It's never the person and what they
Mm-hmm.
said, it's your ideas about what the person said. Because
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it more on the podcast. Sometimes we'll be getting more into naturopathic, holistic lifestyle stuff,
Mm-hmm.
body stuff with Eddi, and sometimes we'll talk more about the inner world, that sort of I've been studying for a long time. And just, we have so much to share.
We
Um,
do.
yeah, so
Yeah.
much to share, that because we've been lifelong. I mean, I've been a lifelong seeker for sure in the spiritual, you know, world, the meditation world, the yoga world, the non-dual world, and yet we've crisscrossed too. And Eddi's helped me stay healthy in my body,
Mm-hmm.
and more. Like Eddi crosses all the time. She does inner work, just just slightly differently than I do, but yeah, and then I help her with her meditation sometimes, although not these days because you're very dedicated.
Well, it's really funny. I was on a call with a gal who we both know, and but I had just we've heard about each other through you, but then I met her, and she says to me, she goes, "Are you and Corinne childhood friends?" And I went, "Well, no, we met in our 20s." She said, "How old are you now?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be 60." She said, "Well, yeah, that was childhood friends." I consider 20s childhood friends. I'm like, "Oh, okay." It made me sit
That's
back for a minute.
funny.
Yeah, it did. It made me laugh.
That's
That's
great.
Julianne.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
loved it when she said it because it was just makes you think for a minute. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, that will be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She has a lot of great ideas. She's very excited about our podcast because she's a filmmaker. And she had said, and I love this, she said, WO50, women over 50, are very much, we were raised by women who were very closely knit and supported the patriarch.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I have clients that are like, really are having a hard time reconciling something with their parents or something, I'm like, one of the things I say, I mean, there's a lot of things that I do say, and you know, I don't want to, I'm not talking about bypassing, your feelings, but different perspectives sometimes is that, you think about your mom who was raised in the 50s, if they're our age, right? My mom was getting married in the 50s. So she was raised in the
Mm-hmm.
40s. She was born in the 30s.
Same as
And
my
that, which
mom.
is, yeah, same as your mom. And so women over 50 are raised by these women who were just like very close to being raised after the Depression. And think about the women that raised them, that they couldn't even vote, right? And it's just, so you start to have a little bit more compassion, I think,
Mm-hmm.
for your parents. I mean, I think it's natural part of life. When you have children, you have more compassion for your parents.
Yeah.
But also thinking about how closely, what the world they were living in just 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I like
Hmm.
what you say, Eddie, about, and I've shared this with many people since you said this to me, the fact that when you're in your 50s, what you're dealing with. You want to share that with the above, with your aging parents, all the
Oh,
things in your world.
the
Yeah.
sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the sandwich age. You have aging parents, you have young adult children, and they're having children, and you have this window to yourself. And then if you don't, that's not most people, but that's kind of, the higher percentage is this 50s age group that is in that position. And we'll talk a lot about that. I think, you know, how we deal with the elderly and aging and our children, and where we find the time for ourselves without the guilt, without, you know, the panic button on, and why we often feel that we have to take that on. And some people think it's a burden, other people think it's a gift. There's a lot of, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the sandwich generation.
And then also that you're working still too when you're in your
You're
50s and
working.
60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Some are retiring, but then, they're picking up something they've always wanted to do. Maybe they have hobbies that become jobs. And there's also the labeling of yourself. Who are you without your job when you retire? And do you fall into taking care of seniors or elderly parents now? What happens? Um, all these things we don't think about. So we're
Yeah.
hoping, we're living healthy, and longevity is, right in our thinking. Preventative medicine is what we practice every day. So we're really hoping that as we get older, we stay really independent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
that's my plan. But life happens. Sometimes genetics and curveballs are thrown at us, accidents, injuries, like diagnoses that come out of the blue, and we're like, holy shit. Oh, are you allowed to say that? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I got explicit on our thing. So, because
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say the F word once in a while for sure.
Oh, that's excellent. That's such a good word. Like,
It's
it's
such a good
especially,
word.
it is. It's one of the words that when you say it, yeah, there's a letting go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a lot about this age group, and it's nice for anyone of any age to listen in. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s. I love different age group
Yeah. Well, I want to
podcasts.
talk about the importance. We'll have an episode about the importance of having friends that are different ages. Like both of us hang out with all age people. And I
Yeah.
love, one of my favorite things is helping young people in their 20s, like young singers that come to Nashville. I've got quite a few of those that I work with, and I just love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got lots of peeps up here in music and medicine that I mentor and encourage to do what they're doing any way we can help, right? That's
Yeah, we
how do
just
we
show up.
serve? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just show up. And that's really what you and I teach and study is just showing up authentically. And it can sound glib or like a statement, but if you really dig into, for me, what that means is to show up without a Santa bag full of judgments and expectations and past hurts and
Mm-hmm.
fears, and just be able to show up clearly in the present moment without, and now that I'm living that way, I mean, I'm when I have conversations with people, I'm like, I notice like how much baggage they come with in every conversation,
Yeah.
and of course being okay with that too. Like if I'm having a friendly conversation and I'm not coaching somebody, it's not my job to, point it out to them.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to just be, accepting and non-judgmental. And but yeah, that's what I'm noticing for myself, is doing my best to just show up clean in every moment and being fully present.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful gift. When you just said the thing about the Santa Claus bag, today I had my granddaughter, so I picked her up from circus camp, and she's moved into a new house now with her mom and my daughter and her brother. And she got a new bedroom. And she goes, Nana, and she's really good. She's 6. And she goes, Nana, um, I love my room. I just love my room. I said, do you? She goes, yeah. But my bedspread is old. I was like, oh, is old, is it? Yeah, remember you got it? She said, I was like 4. I was like, oh, yeah, it's not that old because you're 6, right? And she goes, yeah, but the sheets aren't really that comfortable. And right
Oh,
away
she's
in
definitely
my
your
head,
granddaughter.
yes, in my head, I go, oh my gosh, she must have been listening in when I was telling somebody that they have 1,000 gifts they're born with, okay? The gift of music or can play an instrument or dance. I said, even a gift as you're counting them can be to know the quality of good sheets, right? So that came into my head when she said this. And I'm like, okay, let's go get some new matching. Let's get some bed sheets and comforter, and you get to test them. Let's do a feel thing. Well, we go into the store where all the bedding is, and she's touching everything like I was in India. So I'm going, oh boy, she's going to want everything. So, but she didn't. She got to these mermaid sheets, really good cotton, and it had a matching spread, and that's what we went home with. And honestly, you could have given her $1,000,000, and she was so thrilled.
Oh, that
Put
is
him
the
on her bed, and she got in the bed, and she goes, "Oh, these sheets are very cooling." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, where did they get you? Who are you?"
because I don't think she'd get that from her mother. That's definitely something she's getting from you.
Oh, most definitely, at a very cooling. I was like,
Oh my
mm-hmm.
gosh. Because Eddie, not just in India, I mean, India, because the fabrics and the smells are so amazing. You did touch everything in India, but you do it in every store that we go to.
Well, I
You
do
look with
because
your hands.
I do because I'm a highly sensitive person. So I
You
find
are.
when I touch things or hear things, it's really at a higher count or decibel than I don't know many people.
Yeah, it's
But when
true.
I touch things, yeah, I can feel like if I'm allergic to wool, I can feel like there's needles in it. So
Yeah.
anything that has something in it that doesn't
Ex-
resonate with me.
except for when we were in LA and it
Oh,
took you 2 hours to figure out that the
that was the
scarf, your new
cashmere scarf.
scarf.
That's a good story. Oh, we went shopping and I was like, oh, it was drive. We rented a convertible, remember? And we're
Convertible.
driving
Yeah.
and we stopped in this store and I put this scarf around my neck
You
and
loved
didn't have
it.
a clue, never clued in. We're driving. I'm like, all of a sudden, my eyes are itching and I had to run into the drugstore and get saline and
You pulled out your contact lenses because your
I
eyes were
pulled out my
driving.
contacts. They were just like someone threw fire into them. And then we met these street musicians and we're walking along and they made a comment and I got really irritated because my eyes were so irritated. And then we get in the car and I'm like, oh, Corinne, oh my God, this scarf. She's like, what? I said, it's the scarf. It's not the air. It's not wind blowing sand into my face. It's cashmere.
You're allergic to
You,
cashmere.
I'm allergic to cashmere. And here I was for 2 hours with it
And
wrapped.
wrapped around your neck. And usually, it was so weird because usually
Yeah,
right away this was
I
a
didn't
case.
see the little tag. Yeah, it was so precious. Anyway, that was an experience.
Oh my
So
gosh, that
sometimes you
was a
got to
good one.
find out these things the hard way. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh,
so
uh-huh.
there it is. A few stories.
We have lots of those that we'll be sharing on the podcast. And because Eddie has made a request that the episodes stay at around 30 minutes, I could talk forever and I like things to talk forever. But if you want to listen forever, you'll just have to listen to the next episode because we're going to wind this one up now, wind it down. And we took a deep drink, a deep dive into our friendship just now and our history and who we are. And we'll take another deep dive into a specific topic in our next episode.
We will. Until we meet again.
Be well.
Be happy.
Be yourself.
Be kind.
Be